Hello, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and Hurricane HD video blog for Saturday, the 8th of June, 2013. A look at what's going on across the Atlantic Basin this afternoon. We have a surface trough in the Gulf of Mexico, just a weak focusing mechanism for development of showers and thunderstorms. This is a fairly well-organized tropical wave and associated very weak low-level circulation center. What convection there is being blown off and sheared apart, which is what you would expect this time of year. However, this is a very strong tropical wave for June, and it shows me that this is probably a different kind of year than we've seen these past several, where this region of the tropics was basically shut down due to quite dry air or stable air, not allowing these things to develop. So we'll see. This is kind of that warning shot that I was talking about yesterday. It won't amount to much now, but later in the season this could be significant that we're seeing these things try to develop in June. In the Gulf of Mexico, the tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center indicating this area in the Gulf here outlined in yellow. Again, it's just a weak area of low pressure, more linear in nature, this surface trough rather than a closed low-level circulation, a convergence point for the air to rise, but very, very weak in nature. None of the global models, the dynamic computer models, indicating that it will develop into a tropical cyclone, so we won't worry about it. Andrea, way up in the Gulf of Maine, not going to be an issue, other than what it's doing now, that is to say, bringing some pretty heavy rainfall to northern New England and then eventually through the Canadian Maritimes, and then that will be that. Here's a close-up of the surface trough in the Gulf of Mexico. Again, just a small area where the air is trying to come together and rise, and it's doing so pretty effectively, but not enough of a focusing mechanism. And the other ingredients, there's still a mystery to these things. Why doesn't every blob develop into a tropical storm? This is where Andrea formed, so why wouldn't this form? Well, different factors go into why that happens, and we don't understand everything. But we can look at the global models, and if they generally don't show it in the future, then it generally doesn't happen. Sometimes these rather small systems can develop quickly, sort of out of nowhere. We saw that with Umberto in the Gulf. I believe it was 2007, but hopefully that won't be the case this time. We'll watch it just to be sure, right? Over Florida, these are your typical afternoon thunderstorms developing because of the interaction between the warm tropical air of the Atlantic meeting the warm tropical air of the Gulf. You heat up Florida's mainland here, the land area that is, and that air rises, and that's also kind of like a surface trough. The air is rising, that pressure is just a little bit lower, so it's more buoyant, and up it goes, it condenses, and then you've got those clouds, showers, and thunderstorms right down the heart of the Florida Peninsula. Check out what Andrea did as it moved up out of the Gulf and then across the southeast. This area cooled down just a little bit. Now, this is not an anomaly map, but rather an actual temperature map. But this little purple inside the purple, the lighter purple, that's 24 degrees Celsius down here. Look at that. That is your mid-70s at best. And that's a cool down. The churning nature of Andrea coming through like this definitely mixed up that shelf water, bringing those water temperatures down just a little bit. The rest of the Gulf very warm, as you would expect. Now, we're going to be watching the Caribbean Sea. This is the GFS, Global Forecast System, global computer model. This is a surface map valid a week from today. So this is next Saturday. And before you start saying, oh, here we're talking about something a week away. Well, the GFS is pretty good at sniffing out things beyond the average 2 to 5 day forecast period that we're used to seeing. And I'm looking for the pattern. Does it keep showing up in the pattern? And for the last several runs, we've seen the GFS try to lower pressures here in the Caribbean and then bring some type of a tropical system this way, generally towards Mexico, beyond the 7, 8, 9 day time frame. So it's time to start looking at it and just make you aware of it. This is supposed to be a very active season. Well, here's maybe one of the reasons why, that we're going to see development possibly every few weeks. And that's the purpose of this video, is just to keep you up to date on what may be happening. And I'm showing you a map into the future here. This isn't gospel, obviously. It's not written in stone, but it's something to watch. And by day 8, the GFS starts to lower pressures even more down to the 1008, 1009 millibar range. This area is climatologically favored this time of year, the Northwest Caribbean, and maybe something will come of it. We shall see. I will take a look at it each day in the coming days, and once we get into the 5 days or less time frame, so we got about 72 hours, then it should really start to show up in the models, and more of them if it's going to happen. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Again, the key is to be ahead of the game and understand that there could be a threat down the road. And it's not just to the United States. Remember, users of this app are all over the place. Mexico, the Caribbean, and they have interest in what may be coming. And the larger the lead time, the better. Hopefully nothing will happen, but if it does, hey, you got a long time to prepare for it, right? And that's our goal here, is to keep you aware. Well, that is it for today. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. Always a privilege and a pleasure and an honor and all of those things to do these videos for you. I'll be back again with another one tomorrow afternoon.